College, where I grew up. For a lot of people, I don't know how to begin. Sacred economics. I wrote a book called Sacred Economics that's coming out in a couple months. So I've been talking about money a lot. Not because I'm especially interested in money per se, but because when I was investigating what happened to our planet and society, and just looking at every problem, you dig a couple levels down and you always get to money. Whether you're talking about why is there another war in Libya, and you go down a couple levels and you discover banking is implicated, or you ask, why are we building nuclear power plants, or why is the prison industry flourishing to the exclusion of everything else, or why is the music industry the way it is? And you just go down a couple levels, and it's because, well, someone's making money from that. And so I became really interested in this thing called money, and why should it be that way? Why should money be a force for evil? And on a personal level, why is it, for most of my life at least, that the things, and people around me too, that the things that I really wanted to do, there wasn't any money in that. And the things that I didn't want to do so much and that were kind of iffy, or that I knew deep down were actually destructive, there was lots of money in that. Why, when I was in Taiwan, the jobs that were the most lucrative were writing copy for hotels, writing the chairman's message for a bank. I was a kind of a paid writer, as opposed to being an unpaid writer now. That's where all the money was, in these really corporate funded jobs that were up to no good. And the stuff that I really liked doing, maybe translation for a museum, or for an Aboriginal tribe that was trying to get recognized or something like that, there was no money in that. So why are all the beautiful things, why to do all these beautiful things, we have to fight against the current of money, and the things that contribute to the destruction of Earth, that's where the money is. Why should it be that way? What is it about these talismans? Because really money is just a token, it's a medium of exchange, right? It's just something, theoretically, it's just something to facilitate exchange. That's all it's supposed to be. Do we need to make another sheet? It says, I have something, I would like to give it to you. You don't have anything to give to me, but that's okay. I'll give it to you anyway, and you'll give me this shiny, pretty thing as a token of your gratitude. It's useless, a cowrie shell, a piece of shiny gold, really useless. Gold is the most useless metal. It's too soft to make into a plow or anything like that.
Gold
It's
is
pretty.
a superconductor, and it's
Yeah.
awesome if you're doing anything like that.
It's almost as good as silver, in fact. Almost as good as superconductor as silver.
Oh, it's also really great if you're in space. It's one of the best shields against solar radiation and solar flares. So actually there's theories that the reason why the Egyptians used so much gold is because they were aliens and they needed all the gold from Earth for their spaceships.
I like it.
Am I blocking your view, Virginia?
But anyway, ignoring that, the question remains, why is this thing that's just supposed to facilitate exchange? Hello, Robert.
Pull up a chair, Robert.
Yep, we've got chairs.
I have a chair here.
So I'll briefly fill in my old friend Robert here. Then. So Robert, I was just kind of posing this question, why should money be the enemy of all the good and beautiful things we want to do, and where the money is in things that contribute to the pillage of Earth, nature, culture, and health. Why? So I began to look into the way money is created, the way it works, and our attitudes about money, and just its nature. You know, what is money? And I decided that, I mean, there's different definitions of money. One that I liked was that it's a system of agreements. It's an agreement that something has value. But that didn't quite get to the magical level of money. There's definitely, there's this power that resides in money that we all feel. Yeah. It's kind of uncanny, but if you want to create something, well, how should I enter into this? You know, in the whenever there's a financial crisis, Ben Bernanke goes up in front of Congress, or the Secretary of the Treasury goes up and says some incomprehensible words that are then deciphered by all these financial experts to try to divine, they actually use that word, to divine the intentions of the Federal Reserve. So he goes up there and basically states some mumbo jumbo, like magical incantations. And according to what he says, financial markets shift. The fortune of entire nations can rise and fall based on these magical words. Businesses can go out of business depending on what words he says. People's whole expectations about the future can change. And in the last financial, and some of these things are just to kind of, they're these code words, but they'll say, for example, you know, recovery is right around the corner. The crisis isn't so bad. They were saying that in 2007, 2008. The mortgage crisis will be contained. There will not be a recession. And now they're saying we're in recovery. Things are coming back to normal. And it's as if they're trying to speak that reality into existence. But I think that these magic words, these incantations, are losing their power because fewer and fewer people really believe that normal is coming back. And fewer people are acting as if normal is coming back. So money is beginning to lose its magic. Because really, it is magic. I mean, if you're in Haiti and you are learning about voodoo and getting into that culture, a voodoo master can write symbols on magic symbols on a piece of paper, and if that's given to a believer, that believer could have a heart attack, or that believer could be ecstatically joyful, or that believer could be enslaved to that voodoo master for decades. And we're the same way. You can get a piece of paper in the mail with magical symbols inscribed on it that we could read as account balance. And based on that, you could almost have a heart attack. You could be in despair. Your entire world could be dark. You could be enslaved to the master of these symbols for your entire life, doing things that you don't even want to do because of mere bits in computers or mere splotches of ink on a piece of paper. Like, what is this magic power? And where do symbols get their power? So symbols get their power because they're not powerful in and of themselves. That piece of paper that says account balance, if you gave it to a hunter-gatherer living in Ouagadougou, like, it would not have any power. It only has power because we buy into and we're part of a system of agreements and meanings and symbols that I call a story. And the story contains the story of money, and it goes beyond the story of money. What's happening today is that the deepest stories that define our civilization are unraveling. They're coming to an end. These stories are invisible to us, but they are becoming visible as their lifespan nears its end. And so our intuition that normal isn't coming back, and our intuition that the crises around us today aren't just bumps in the road. They're not just problems to solve and then things are going to go back to normal, but that they are fundamental, that they go down all the way to the bottom. That's a true intuition. So my work around money, really it's part of